What are some of the most visible signs that you are eating too much sugar? The average American consumes about 17 teaspoons of added sugar every single day, more than double the recommended limit. And the reason is simple. Most people don't realize how much sugar is hiding in the foods that they're eating, including the ones that they think are healthy. So even if you don't consider yourself a sugar addict, there's still a good chance you're eating way too much. And if you ignore these warning signs your body is sending, the damage can build until it shows up as diabetes, fatty liver, heart disease, or some other serious condition. Not to mention completely blocking any hope that you have of losing weight. That's why I'm sharing 13 of the most visible signs that you're eating too much sugar so that you'll know if you're already in the danger zone and you can take action before it's too late. For the first sign, take a close look in the mirror. If you see any fine lines creeping in earlier than you expected or more often, or skin that's not bouncing back the way that it used to, sugar is often the reason. Here's why. Sugar attaches to collagen and elastin. These are the proteins that keep your skin firm and springy. Once damaged, they harden into something scientists called AGEs, or advanced glycation end products. And those AGEs literally age you. If you're eating a lot of sugar, this damage is happening everywhere in your body. But it shows up first when the skin is thinnest. Your face, your hands, your neck. That's why you may notice lines appearing earlier than you expected them to appear, or more often than you expect them to appear. Skin that doesn't quite snap back the way that it used to. It's a dead giveaway that your skin is suffering from way too much sugar. So the wrinkles that have a crisscross pattern, skin that looks dull or rough, or even a slightly yellow tone instead of a healthy glow. Next, if you're still fighting pimples as an adult, sugar is often one of the biggest culprits. Studies show that people who eat high sugar diets have up to 87% more breakouts than those that don't. It's because, as many of you know, sugar spikes your blood sugar, which triggers insulin, and when insulin climbs, it sends your oil glands into overdrive. That floods your skin and it clogs your pores. At the same time, sugar stirs up hormones that make breakouts deeper and more painful, especially around the jawline. And it doesn't end there. Sugar also fuels inflammation, and that means every breakout looks more red, feels more tender, and then takes longer to heal. You'll notice it if your forehead suddenly gets tiny white bumps after a sugar binge, or if those stubborn, painful spots keep showing up along your cheeks or along your chin. Fortunately, a lot of people see calmer skin and fewer flare-ups within a week of cutting sugar. So unlike the wrinkles, this one can turn around quickly. Next, you might think those dark circles under your eyes are just lack of sleep, but if they stick around, no matter how rested you feel, sugar could be the reason why. Because sugar weakens the collagen, thinning the delicate skin around your eyes, which makes blood vessels show through more clearly. And the puffiness that sugar creates and the shadows make it look even worse. That may not sound like a big deal, but doctors are now taking this seriously. One study found that people with dark circles were far more likely to have blood sugar and insulin problems. And some dermatologists even treat under eye circles as an early warning sign of prediabetes. So if your circles get worse after sugary foods, or they linger no matter how much sleep you get, that's your body waving a red flag. By the way, if you're enjoying this video, be sure to like it, hit the subscribe button. Doing so helps get this information to more people who need to hear it, and will make sure that you see more videos like this in the future. Okay, speaking of puffy skin, sugar can actually change the entire shape of your face. When you eat it, your body has to store it. But sugar doesn't go alone. It pulls water with it, almost like a sponge. It also sparks inflammation, which makes tissues swell. Put those together and you get a buildup of extra fluid, which shows up wherever your skin is thinnest, such as your cheeks, around your eyes, your jawline. And as a result, you might notice that your face looks rounder than usual, your jawline has lost definition, or you wake up with puffiness that takes hours to fade. Some people even notice the pillow marks that stick around well into the morning. It's a clear sign that the skin is holding on to too much fluid. And the changes can show up fast. One UC Davis study found that just 4 weeks of high sugar diets cause visible facial inflammation. Fortunately, once you get the sugar out of your diet, that can go the other way very quickly. Many people notice that swelling eases within days of cutting sugar, and they get their natural contours to start to return. Facial puffiness can come and go really quickly, but sugar can leave a different mark that sticks around a lot longer, the sugar belly. As we just discussed, insulin's job is to move sugar out of your blood. But when there's too much insulin, it signals your body to start storing fat. And not just anywhere, the liver converts excess sugar into visceral fat, the deep and dangerous belly fat that wraps around the organs. So that's when you might notice a hard protruding stomach, even if your arms and legs stay relatively thin, a round firm midsection that doesn't shrink easily, clothes fitting tighter at the waistline, and feeling more bloated after meals. Large studies confirm this. People who drink sugary beverages every day carry significantly more visceral belly fat than those who don't. Fortunately, visceral fat is also the first fat your body burns once you cut sugar and bring insulin back under control. Next, one of the clearest warning signs of too much sugar is cuts and scrapes that just won't heal. Sugar weakens your white blood cells. These are the very cells that fight germs, repair your skin, and like we just discussed, sugar also damages collagen, the protein that your body uses to knit wounds back together. So this combination slows the entire healing process. A simple way to check yourself is with the 2-week rule. If a small cut is still open after 2 weeks, or it stays red and sore longer than normal, sugar may be holding your healing back. This is especially noticeable on your hands and on your feet, where circulation is much more easily affected. Doctors often watch this closely because it'd be one of the first visible signs that blood sugar is running too high. Next, sugar doesn't just slow down your skin repair, it also changes how clearly you see the world in front of you. When blood sugar runs high, extra fluid gets piled up and pulled into the lens of your eye, almost like it's swelling. Even that tiny change in shape is enough to make things look more blurry or out of focus. And over time, sugar also weakens the small vessels in your retina. That's the part of your eye that sends images to your brain. Damage here makes vision problems much more likely. So what does it mean for you? Your vision might seem clear one day, but fuzzy the next. Small text might suddenly feel harder to read after a sugary meal. Some people also notice colors looking a little more washed out, or even having trouble seeing at night. Eye doctors call this an early warning sign. In fact, almost 10 million Americans already live with sugar-related retinal damage. And for many, the first clue is that their vision doesn't feel as sharp as it used to. Next, run your tongue across your teeth. If you feel rough spots or sensitive areas, even though you brush every day, sugar might be the reason. That's because it feeds the bacteria that live on your teeth. About 20 minutes after you eat something sweet, those bacteria start producing acid strong enough to wear down enamel. At first, you might notice white spots or sensitivity to hot and cold, but as this damage builds, those weak spots turn into cavities. Gums start looking red or swollen, or they bleed a lot more when you floss them. If they bleed when you brush or when you floss, it's another clear sign that sugar has taken its toll. Dentists see this constantly. People who sip on sugary drinks throughout the day have dramatically higher rates of decay than those who don't. And the risk isn't small. For every extra sugary drink you add daily, your chance of cavities jumps 22%. Now, here's one more common sign of too much sugar that shows up in your skin. If you've ever noticed dark, velvety patches around your neck or your armpits or even under your breasts, that's a visible red flag for high sugar content. Look for skin that looks almost dirty, but it won't scrub off. Patches that gradually get thicker, maybe a little darker over time, often shows up on the back of the neck first. Other common areas though, elbows, knuckles, inner thighs. Some people also notice small skin tags forming in those same areas. Like I said, this isn't rare, but 1 in 5 adults show some degree of this happening. And studies confirm that people with these patches are about twice as likely to develop type 2 diabetes. Only when you bring blood sugar down will these skin patches start to fade. Next, stick out your tongue. If instead of a healthy pink surface, you see a lot more of white or even a cottage cheesy-like coating, sugar might be the reason. Here's why. Sugar feeds a yeast called candida that normally lives harmlessly in your mouth and in your digestive tract. But when there's too much sugar, that yeast shifts into overgrowth mode. It spreads across the tongue and the gums, and it creates thick white patches. Now, these patches often wipe off to reveal red, irritated skin underneath. Other clues can be that you have of a fuzzy feeling in your mouth, cracks at the corner of your lips, lingering bad breath, a bad breath that doesn't improve with brushing. And people with diabetes are especially prone to this since the high blood sugar means higher sugar levels are already in the saliva. Basically a sugar bath that fuels the yeast. Roughly half of all people deal with this at some point. But if it keeps coming back or it refuses to clear, it's often a visible sign that your sugar levels are out of control. Now, another obvious sign of too much sugar is changes in your hair. When sugar spikes insulin, it triggers a hormone called DHT. DHT shrinks hair follicles and makes strands grow back thinner and shorter. Eventually, they can stop growing altogether. And on top of that, sugar stiffens keratin. That's the protein that your hair is made out of. That leaves it brittle and prone to breakage. And because sugar also reduces blood flow to your scalp, hair follicles don't get the nutrients that they need to grow strong. As a result, you might notice more hair in your brush or in the shower drain, hair that feels dry or breaks more easily, slower regrowth in spots that once filled very quickly, or hair that has lost its natural shine. In more advanced cases, you might even see patches or thinning of hair or even bald spots developing. Large studies back this up. Men who drank the most sugary drinks were over 3 times more likely to develop male pattern hair loss. All right, we've talked about skin, we talked about hair, let's talk about nails. If your nails have gone from clear and smooth to yellow or a thickening or a constant breakage, more brittle, that may be because sugar is showing up at your fingertips. Here's why. High sugar stiffens the proteins that keep nails strong. Instead of flexible and healthy, they become brittle. They start cracking or splitting with the simplest bump. That same sugar damage can also make nails grow in a thicker or even a harder way as well. Sometimes so tough that they're even hard to or painful to trim. And because fungus loves sugar too, infections under the nail become much more common when blood sugar runs high, especially in the feet. So one of the easiest ways to spot trouble is color. Healthy nails should look pinkish, even translucent. Sugar-damaged nails often start to get a yellow tint or even a little brownish or even a little uneven in their coloring. And you might also see ridges or strange lines forming across them, white lines. In fact, doctors even study nail clippings now because they can reveal months of blood sugar history, whereas blood tests only show you just a recent blood sugar level. Number 13, one of the strangest ways sugar can show up, restless legs at night. When you eat a sugary snack, your blood sugar shoots up fast. Then your body releases insulin to bring it back down, but it often overcorrects, causing your blood sugar to dip too low. And when that dip happens, your body sees it as a threat. So it releases adrenaline, the same hormone that kicks in during fight or flight mode. And that adrenaline pushes sugar back into your bloodstream. But it doesn't stop there. Adrenaline also stimulates your nerves and your muscles. And that's why your legs might suddenly feel twitchy, jittery, or impossible to relax. And for many people, it's worse in the evening when energy is already low. When you're tired, but your legs act like they've had a double shot of espresso. Researchers have even tracked this in diet studies. People eating high sugar diets scored restless leg symptoms up to 4 times higher than those on low sugar. Now, if you've noticed these signs of sugar damage in the mirror, then chances are your blood sugar has been running high for years, maybe even decades. The good news is it doesn't take decades to fix it. In fact, you can start reversing the damage in as little as 90 days. That's exactly what I will show you how to do in my other video where I walk you through this simple plan to reset insulin resistance, cleanse your liver, and finally get your body working the way it should again. I'll include a link to that video right here. Click to watch now, and I'll see you there.